Good afternoon and welcome to this press conference. I'm happy to welcome Commissioner Reynders and Commissioner Johansson to the press room, who will present to you an update to the measures for travel within and from outside the European Union. So without further ado, I would ask Commissioner Reynders to start.
No, thank you very much. And less than 5 months ago, I spoke to you from this podium to present the Commission's proposal to coordinate measures restricting free movement in the European Union. And since then, we have had both good news and, unfortunately, also bad news. The start of the EU vaccination campaign, quick of beginning of the end of the pandemic, it seems like the beginning of the end. At the same time, new, more transmissible variants of the virus have surfaced. There is currently a very high number of new infections across many member states, and there is an urgent need to reduce the risk of travel-related infections to lessen the burden on overstretched healthcare systems. This is also supported by the recommendation issued by the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control, ECDC, in its rapid risk assessment of 21 January 2021. This is why, in addition to the recommendation adopted last October and following the discussions between the head of states and governments last Thursday, today the Commission is recommending further measures in 2 areas. First, the Commission is proposing the addition of a new color, dark red, to the color code map published weekly by the ECDC. This is to reflect the high level of infections partially linked to new coronavirus variants, and would apply to an area where the 14-day notification rate of infections is 500 or more. So it's a new category, a new zone with a new color, the dark red color. The Commission, secondly, is proposing updates to the common approach regarding travel from high-risk areas. First, the Commission proposes that all non-essential travel to and from high-risk areas is strongly discouraged. In this context, we also invite Member States to ensure consistency between the measures they take regarding cross-border travel and travel within their territory. So the same approach in the entire European Union, not only for cross-border travels, but also inside the different territories of the Member States. We still believe Member States were correct when they agreed in October that, in principle, the entry of those travelling from other Member States should not be refused. Should Member States consider restrictions necessary, they could require people travelling from non-green areas to quarantine and or undergo a test prior to and or after arrival. We are suggesting stricter measures for dark red areas because we must recognize the high level of cases. It is why Member States should require individuals coming from these areas to do a test prior to arrival and quarantine after arrival if needed. As before, there should be exceptions to the rules. People living in cross-border regions, for example, who cross borders frequently to work, to go to school or take care of a family member, should not be required to quarantine. We also think it is necessary for essential travelers arriving from dark red areas to get tested before traveling and to undergo quarantine, unless these measures would have a disproportionate impact on the exercise of their essential function. This is necessary to protect our citizens and the functioning of the single market. We all depend on this. Yes, the risks when traveling have increased. The Commission's proposal addressed these risks because we cannot afford to disrupt essential travel and supply chains, not least to keep the delivery of vaccines going. Nor can we afford to confuse citizens. This is why we will continue to have one map with one common color code, updated weekly by the CDC, and it is why having one-stop shop for all travel-related queries, the reopen EU platform. So it's possible to use, of course, the platform. As was the case last time, the next steps are for the Council to discuss and agree if it's possible. It's promising that IPCR will already meet this afternoon. The Commission will provide all support to advance as quickly as possible. It is now for the Council to reach a decision, but we expect this is to come swiftly. It's a question of safety, and it's a question of the protection of all the EU citizens inside the European Union, but also there are other rules for outside the EU.
Indeed, thank you very much, Commissioner.